We recording? All right, I think so. I think we're recording. All right, let's make sure we're on. Let's go over here. Woohoo! All right, looks good there. All right, sweet. All right, looks good. All right. Inspector Gadget. I wonder if I get demonetized for doing that. All right. All right, good. Whew. As Scott Adams says, let's take that first sip. Stump Rider. All right. Not familiar with you, brother. Where are you from there, Stumpy? All right. So what we're going to do today is I got a list of questions people have asked over. Let's see. All right. And these are going to, so I keep a file of questions, and I always say I'm going to get to them, and then I never, I always say I'm going to get to them on a live stream, and then I end up doing Dan, what's going on, man? And then I always end up going on tangents. So this time we're going to go to questions. All right. So my man Scott asks about SDIV. It's a somewhat low-cost index fund with a 13% yield, yet prices dropped by half in last decade. So what do I think about that? So let's find out about old SDIV. Don't know the slightest. So let's take a look, shall we, Scott? All right. And this is, he wrote this back in June, so you can see I'm way behind. All right, let's go back here. And I still, Colorado, right on, man. Newton, Kansas, right on, Scott. Hey. Scott's better half had emailed me the other day. Just, ooh, man, maybe I wasn't supposed to say that. I don't know. So, Que Paso from Kansas, Scott. I'm not sure I was supposed to say that, but oops. Just trust me, man. I do not keep a secret well. Just ask my ball and chain. She'll say, dude, can you ever not say something? All right, so we're going to look at Robinhood CEO reveals what happened at GameStop. Don't care. Professor GameStop mania, whatever. What should be done? Okay. Literally, these guys, I don't care. There's Sniffy. He wants to sniff your hair. All right, so SDIV. I don't know the first thing about this. A Global X Super Dividend ETF. Let's take a gander. And so when Scott had written this to me, it had a 12%, 13% dividend yield, which tells him the share price is pretty down. And that's what he said. He said the price has dropped by half in the last decade. So let's take a look at what we're doing here now. So right now, this guy, 7.92 is a dividend yield. So that tells you the price has probably gone up in the last year or so. Let's see. Well, not that much. It went from, he had written me in June right there. So it's gone from 1147 to 1295. So it's gone up by a 1.5. That's 10% increase or so. Not significant. I mean, it's nice, but anyway, the dividend yield 7.92. I don't know why it's paying 13%, other than the price falling off a cliff from right here. That would make the dividend yield go up. I wonder if that had a special dividend or something like that. I don't know, but let's take a look here. So going back in the last half decade, the prices dropped. Yeah, so basically right here is at 21. Now it's at 12. All right, so I don't know what's going on here. It sounds like it's eating away his principal to pay that dividend. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. At least it does have some volume. I'm not touching it. I don't know the first thing about it. I just anything that's extraordinary. There's something going on with it. Now, I don't know what that something is, and frankly, I don't care to find out. But let's look at Exxon. I have no idea what Exxon's yield is right now. Exxon's back down to 44. Right now, it's yielding 7.56. So anytime you have a yield that's extraordinarily above market, that means the price has fallen off a cliff. There's no other way around that. And there's expectations for the dividend to be reduced, which is, I imagine, probably what happened with that SDIV, but I don't know. I haven't looked at GE for a while. I have literally not seen GE for a long time. So let's take a look. Still in the tens. Let's see what they're. Yeah, they got like they put their dividend at 4 cents. So remember why they dropped that dividend significantly. Why they do that, but they kept it at 4 cents a share. I mean, so basically, obviously, they're trying to hoard cash. I get that, but the reason they keep paying a dividend is so they can continue to pay their preferred shareholders. So remember, preferred shares is a dividend. If you own the preferred share, you get paid before, as long as the dividend is paid. You get paid. All right. So that's why a lot of banks in the 2008 crisis, they still paid 1 penny dividend in order to make sure they could still accommodate their preferred shareholders. So, like a lot of preferred shareholders are going to be real. I think Warren Buffett had a bunch of preferreds with some bank, Goldman Sachs or something like that. He might have a bunch of warrants. But anyway, long story short, if you're wondering why they even bother paying a dividend, that's why. Because as long as they're paying a penny in dividends, they must pay their preferreds first. That's how it works. So they're going to always try to pay their preferreds because preferreds are, I don't want to say insiders, but they're usually more, I don't know what the word is, just tighter around, board of directors. And that. Yeah, it's just the preferred shareholders are generally more closer to management than you and I, the Joe Snuffies out there. So, all right. Well, I hope that helps, Scott. That I don't know anything about it, but certainly research it. Anytime it's paying that much of a dividend, I have a sneaky suspicion that it's the upside is going to be limited. Now, that is a high value potential like Exxon. So one of three things going to happen with Exxon. You're going to get some serious upside on stock performance, and that will decrease the dividend yield. It'll go bankrupt or it'll go flat. And if it goes flat, I'm happy just keeping on a 7% dividend yield. If it goes up, I'm happy with that too. And if it goes kaput, well, that sucks, but that's the risk you take. So it might be the same thing here. I don't know anything about it. All right, so let's see what else we got. We got Ricky. All right, I'm 55, plan on retiring in 5 to 7 years. I have a 401k with 92% stocks, 8% bonds. Should I not be so aggressive? Should I have less in stocks? Also put in 5% a year into my Roth starting in this past year, 2020, not this year, 2021. He had written this back in June. Am I too old to be putting into a Roth weekly? I also just started putting 6% after taxes. The stock market is making me nervous the closer I get to retirement. All right, so Ricky's 55. He thinks he might be too old to do a Roth. Huh? Dude, are you keeling over tomorrow? Come on. You can be around for many moons, dude. I don't get this whole age thing. I don't get it. I mean, in some ways I get it for, if you're doing conversions and you're 75 years old and you're about to keel over, don't do Roth then. But 55-year-old guy, no, he's not too old to do a Roth. No way. You're going to retire in 5 to 7 years? Look, man, if you're having a hard time sleeping, look, at the end of the day, you're a long-term investor. You got many moons to go. You're still working for another 5 to 7 years. I don't understand the worry, frankly. But just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's not legitimate. It doesn't mean it's not valid. If you're nervous about the markets, then get out. I don't understand this idea that we have to be in the market to kind of show. There's no reason you got to be in the market. Get out if you want to get out. I don't care. I hate to sound negative. I'm just saying, why? If it keeps you awake at night, get out. It's just that simple, man. Yeah. If there's no, I was listening to Eric Weinstein. I don't like Glenn Beck all that much, but I was listening to Eric Weinstein being interviewed by Glenn Beck, and he said something that I thought was incredibly profound. Of course, Glenn Beck didn't catch it, and I just anyway. He said anyone who thinks basically after World War I until the beginning of the 70s represents normalcy in America is fooling themselves, and I cannot agree with that more. I think about that in the terms of stock market. Anyone who thinks like the post-war era of the U.S. economic growth, expansion, and stock, just anyone who thinks that is historically accurate to say that's going to happen in the future, I don't know what to tell you, man. That doesn't make sense to me. And so as such, I sit here, my man Rick, he's nervous about the markets. I'm sitting there thinking, dude, you got 5 to 7 years before you retire. You're only 55, so you're going to be around another 35 years. At the end of the day, you're a long-term investor. right? And long-term investors win. But the issue with Ricky is he's obviously nervous about it. So, I mean, is there a reason to still be like I did a video the other day? It's like, what I can't remember what the video was. I said, oops, hold on a second. I'll tell you what the, if I can find it, the videos. I said, I can't remember what I said. Anyway, I forgot. But anyway, I said, look, you know, if you're nervous about it, don't punish yourself. It doesn't make sense. I don't get that. And people say all day long, well, the market did this or the market, who cares? If you're having trouble sleeping at night, get out. It doesn't make sense. Now, what you can do is say, look, I can scale back and I'll gradually get back in. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. So you say, look, all right, so my man Ricky is 92.8, 92 stocks, 8% bonds. So scale some, take some off the table. Go 40-60 if that makes it more comfortable. 30-70 and just start scaling back in if you so desire. But there's no reason to lose your sleep. That's a fact. Anyway, the point being is that just we have two distinct eras of basically since the end of World War II. You got the rise of the American dominance of the world. Essentially, we were the only game in town until basically, essentially, well, I mean, really, basically, we still kind of are. But in terms of growth, there's no other growth until roughly the '85 and stuff, and when they started deregulation and all that stuff, which I'm comfortable with. Then you had the debt-fueled economy. All right, so you had lots of growth, lots of success, manufacturing, just ingenious activity, entrepreneurship. I mean, just lots of great stuff in America. To be supplemented by the Wall Street types. And the Wall Street types aren't evil. This whole thing, like, we got to get the hedge funds or shorts. As a guy today is like, I said, why would you buy GameStop now? He goes, because there's still some shorts out there. I said, wait, so you're going to go after all the shorts? That doesn't make any sense. Shorts actually serve a purpose. And so what's going to happen is they're going to regulate shorts out of existence. They've been wanting to do that forever. They've been wanting to do that forever, man. Tyrants always want to regulate shorts because shorts make the tyrants look bad. And they always say, those shorts, we got to get rid of those shorts. And such a trap. It drives me crazy. But anyway, long story short. So we have two distinct economic eras. We have the post-World War II, the engine of American ingenuity, and then we have the debt fuel, which is, coincides with globalism, cheap labor costs, no unionism, and things like that. Now we're going into a third wave, which I don't know what it's going to be. I think it's going to be Japan light, actually. And ironically, I was listening to my man Simon over at Uneducated Economist, who was saying the same thing the other day. So I was quite pleased to hear old Simon agree with me. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so there's Ricky. All right, so we're going to keep. All right. Bert, I'm married, laid off, thinking of retiring. I'm leaving my fiduciary manager because I can't afford the fee once retired. I've opened a Vanguard account and plan to move our money from TD Ameritrade to Vanguard. Should I do a target date fund or do something like a 712 portfolio? We have around 600,000 along with about 125,000 in cash. My wife won't retire for at least 3 years, and if I can find work, I'll wait to go with Social Security. Yeah, I don't know, man, because I'm not sure what kind of income you need from that portfolio. So I don't know. That's tough. I like the 712 portfolio. My man Craig Israelson over at 712. I think it's 712.com. I forgot. Craig Israelson. I interviewed him about a year and a half ago. Freaking great guy. Love Craig. Great guy. Big fan of 712 portfolio. It has underperformed last 10 years because the S&P has just taken off, but the previous 10 years, it freaking kicked. I mean, it saved a lot of retirement accounts. I'm telling you right now. So I like the 712 portfolio. Yeah, let's just bring it up here. So I think it's 712, right? 712. Yeah, 712. I said 712.com. All right, here. Oh, 7, the number. Okay, so let's bring this up here. All right. All right, here's the 712 portfolio. New age balanced portfolio. Craig's a great guy. He's a Christian guy. This is a good man, and he's not going to steer you wrong. That doesn't mean he's going to outperform, but I'm a big fan of this guy. Lots of stuff on his, just tons of stuff you can read for free. Anyway, so here you got your old school balanced portfolio, 60-40 stocks to bonds. You can read the article or slide presentation, and you can see he's basically got 12 holdings at 8.3% in all these holdings. It's as such, you're never going to be, you'll never kill and you'll never get killed, if that makes sense. He's at the performance in here someplace. Let's see. I'm sure he hasn't seen as much money going in because I'm sure it's underperformed the last couple of years. But let's go back to 2020. Let's see. Equally weighted multi-asset portfolio. So 2020 was at 2.73. Yeah, so 2000, is that equally, is that his right there? All right, so 2020 he was up 2.73, and I guarantee a lot of people are freaking out because the S&P 500, yeah, there's the S&P large caps was up to 18%. Commodities got smoked and real estate got smoked, and that hurt. But so 2000, he was up 2.73. Historically, over 51 years, he's up 9.51, where the S&P was up 10.75. But I mean, 9.51, man, that's not too shabby. Standard deviation is about, was that 60% less than the S&P 500, half that of the small caps. I mean, look at that. The standard deviation is significantly less in commodities, real estate, everything but cash and bonds, man. Nuts. Worst 1 year return, 27%. I'm sure that's, 2008. Worst 3 year return. So anyway, I mean, right there, you're not writing home and say, look at Craig Israelson really did great for me. But I tell you, man, I at the end of the day, if you go back to 2000, right here, 2000 is up 10. 2001 is down 5.5. 2002 is only down 1.57. 2008 was down 27, but everything other than cash and bonds were down. So, it's the epitome of diversification. I'm a big fan. And you can buy it. I think you can actually buy it at M1 if memory serves. Anyone know? Anyone know if you can buy it at M1? Yeah, right there. Wellesley or Wellington. I could not agree more. Right on. So anyway, oops. Right on. So I think at the end of the day, that's Bert. Without knowing your cash, I mean, I know you got your cash. Without knowing your expenditures, I don't know. Wellesley or Wellington or the 712. Lots of different things here. 8 degrees. Woo. New Hampshire. Oops. Man, I said New Hampshire. 8 degrees in New Hampshire. All right, so let's keep going here. All right. I'll get you here in just a second, Betsy. All right. Michael says, I enjoy okay. I know that you like Wellington. What about this portfolio retirement? He says Wellington, 20% Wellington, 20% Wellesley, 20% Global Wellington, 20% Global Wellesley, and 20% small caps. I got no qualm with that. I don't think the Global Wellington's been around that much, man. My man I was just talking to yesterday told me about the Global Wellington, and I looked up, it's only around since like 2016. So I don't know. There's not enough track record there. I think international stocks did very well last year. I think this guy said, did Fidelity Internet, did international, let's look at that. International growth, Vanguard Internet growth, like Vanguard, hold on a second. Vanguard International growth is, I think what he said, is like 58% or something like that last year. Let's take a gander, shall we? All right, there we go. Let's take a gander. Vanguard International growth. I said, damn, that's nuts. All right, so let's look at Vanguard International growth. Performance. And I think it was managed by Wellington is what he was telling me. 2000. Yeah, look at that. 59%. Jeez. 59% was up last year. Nuts. Since 1981, it's averaged 11.64%. Whoa, that's crazy, man. But now that's going to be, I mean, look at those. That's going to be juiced because this huge performance last year. I'm not touching. I'm not touching the 10-foot pole, man. But look at that return after. So here's your return of 1 year, 59%. But if you sold that guy in a taxable account, you lost 24% of your gain because of short-term distributions. Eesh, a short-term capital gain. So that's painful. Anyway, I don't know about the Global Wellington and Wellesley. I don't think they've been around that long. As such, I've always I'm always suspect on funds that haven't been around long enough. But let's see. Let's take a look. VGWI. VGWIX. I don't think this has been around very long. This is the Global Wellesley. And yeah, see, it's only been right there. Not long enough to give us anything, but it is run by Wellington. Yeah, so I got no qualm with that, man. None whatsoever. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. There's my man Michael who said 20% Wellington, 20% Wellesley, 20% Global Wellesley, 20% Global Wellington, and 20% small cap. I get no qualm, none whatsoever. That works for me. That's it. Now that is a heavy stock. Well, actually, I guess it won't be that heavy stock because you got Wellesley on both sides. The Wellington, the Wellesley. What's this guy? Let's see what this portfolio is. Man, I got no problem with that, none whatsoever, none. All right, cool. That's not a bad idea. Something to consider. Just don't have enough track record. All right, so we did have a question here. What types of bond funds would you recommend? How many types do I need? The only bond fund I recommend is just the Ginnie Mae fund, Betsy. I don't think corporate bonds give you any yield for any bang for the buck. Certainly for the risk, I just don't think so. There's no bond funds at this stage that look attractive to me because they all have. Let me just go back to the show I'm talking about. So we're going to go to a Vanguard bond fund and choose your mutual funds, and we're going to go to a Vanguard. We'll just say an intermediate corporate fund if we can find it. All right, so we go to bond right here. So let's go to intermediate term bond index. So let's look at this guy right here. All right, so here's the intermediate term bond index. Yeah, corporate. Oh, investment right here. Okay, cool. Intermediate corporate bond. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's take a gander. Let's gander together, Betsy. So we're going to gander at the intermediate corporate bond index, and we're going to see that it's got right now the 30-day SEC yield is 1.56. All right. So for every $100,000, you're getting $1,560 of income. Now we're going to go to, and we're going to say, okay, well, that's great, but what's the risk in there? And the risk right here is the average duration 6.4. All right. So that means if you had $100,000 in there, it would lose for every 1% increase in interest rates, it would lose 6.4%. So essentially for $100,000, you'd be down to $93,600. So basically, in my opinion, is that likely to happen? No, but you're risking, we can even say half that. Well, if we have a half point increase in interest rates, then the price is going to go down by 3.2%, which is literally twice your SEC yield. So you're basically saying, all right, if the interest rates go up by half, I'm only getting 1.5% right now, but I'm going to lose twice that. That doesn't seem like a good trade-off to me. Now, people say, yeah, but the interest rates go up. Yeah, but it's going to take a long time to filter through your current yield here. So I don't think I don't like it. I mean, because the risk, and again, the risk isn't that you're going to go bankrupt. The risk is you're not making much money for locking up your cash in a portfolio of bonds that are very interest rate sensitive. Now, my man Bob asked me about Ginnie Mae. So let's actually, while I'm thinking about it, let's look at Ginnie Mae, because Bob did say, he made a point that the Ginnie Mae, the price was down and the yields were, yeah, look at that. So here's the yield on the Ginnie Mae, 1.01, which is significantly off. Let me go to his email, which I won't show you, but hold on just a second. All right, so Ginnie Mae, right there, Bob. All right, so Bob was saying the Ginnie Mae, he goes, hey, I have a lot of my cash parked in Ginnie Mae, but it's been going down since at least June. Not sure if it's a leveling off or not. Interested in knowing your opinion. I think a lot of, okay, here's a chart from Vanguard. All right. So he's got, so he shows back in June 1st, the Ginnie Mae was trading at $10.84 a share with a yield of 1.98. All right, so June 1st, it's trading at $10.84 a share at a yield at 1.98. Now it's trading at $10.73 with a yield of 1.01. Yeah, I mean, that's just the interest rates on mortgages going down, the only thing I could think. And so that stinks. I mean, so we've got a, what's that, a 13% decline, a 13-cent decline in share price, and a yield that's dropped by basically basically 50%. So that sucks. I have no other way around that. And that's the issue with bonds, though. I mean, it's like you're not getting much money anyway. But so this is where I go. And the reason I like Ginnie Mae is because the duration, there's just not much duration. And Ginnie Mae is a little bit of a unique animal when it comes to duration, but it's government guaranteed and you're getting 1% is liquid. I just like Ginnie Mae. Now, are you going to make a huge amount of money in bonds? No. You're not making big bucks in any bonds. You're just not. There's just no other way around that. So I would rather have something where I can get limited risk downside, but at least get some kind of upside in terms of interest for sure. I don't think I emailed Bob, but I would say, look, man, you have a choice. You can go to all CDs. I don't know what CDs are doing now. My inclination is probably not much, but CDs at least have a guarantee that they're not going to go down in value. But you are locking up your money. Look, I've recommended CDs a million times a Sunday as a cash position. It's certainly different instead of bonds. There's no I mean, if you think about bonds, what has happened, and let's just look at. All right, so I want to show you guys something. There's the yield. Oops, let's see. Let's stop this for a second. All right, so we're gonna stop. All right, so that's the yield on the 10-year Treasury going up, and that's old and this is new right here. So you can see it's gone up quite a bit right there in January. So when you see a yield going up like that, that means the price is going down. And so, I mean, so again, kind of showing the issue that the yields go up, the price goes down. And what's happening is that the people who are banking on interest rates on bonds have taken in the shorts, man, because the price has gone down. The yields have gone up. The yields go up because the price go down. Yields don't go up and then the price goes down. The price goes down and then the yields go up. The yields drive the price drives the yield, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. So I just don't think there's enough. So going back to Ginnie Mae, if you're going to have a cash bucket and you want more than what literally cash is doing, you're going to have to either do CDs and lock up your money for some significant amount of time, or you're going to have to do it. You don't have to, but you would do a Ginnie Mae fund, in my opinion. So there's really no right answer. But I don't think any other bonds are worth it. I just don't. I've said that for a long time, frankly. So let's see. All right, cool. We'll talk about that. Let's go back here. If anyone has ideas on CDs, let the crowd know, would you please? All right. So we got. Man, I got to catch up on these questions because I got a lot, and I appreciate it. All right. Fino says, watch quite a few of my fanatical videos. All right, my fanatical. I wonder if my wife and I have 401k, a simple retirement plan, and an ESOP from my wife's work. Do we still need to open a Roth IRA? They both have 401ks, a simple retirement plan, and an ESOP. Does he still need to open a Roth IRA? I don't know. No idea, brother. So we'll just keep going. Yes or no. I wish I could be more help. All right, here's Edgar. One of your subscribers. I recently watched your video, Retire at 60. What happens to your Social Security? I've been looking for this information for a long time, and until now, it's the first time I hear somebody explain it in detail. I'm trying to recreate the spreadsheet that you use to calculate my own. Where can I get the inflator numbers that you're using to create my spreadsheet? All right, and I just on socialsecurity.gov. Hey, Lydia, socialsecurity.gov. And I have the I'll put the link in, and I'm sure old Edgar isn't here, but we will find the bookmark, and I'll share with you good folks here. And we're going to go to Social Security. And we're still waiting to hear what the folks who are turned 60 in 2020, what the AWI is going to be. We're still waiting to hear that, guys. So before anyone starts freaking out, we don't have the numbers yet. All right, so just FYI. And here are the well, actually, hold on. Let's not. Well, here, let me share with you these guys. These are the AWI series right there, and you can click on that and get what the they have used up until 2020. So in 2019, the AWI was up by 3.75. So the question is, what's going to happen in 2020? GDP was down 3.5% in 2020, but remember, when everyone's making a big stinking fuss about it, GDP was down 35% in second quarter. And a lot of people are expecting GDP would be down again in the third quarter, or at least up a little bit. And instead, the third quarter GDP was through the roof. Fourth quarter is at 4%. All right, so at the end of the day, it was down 3.5%. That is a fact, Jack. Now, we also know that in 2009, the AWI actually was down like less than 1%. 2009, yeah, it was 1.5%. So the AWI was down 1.5%. So people who turned 60 in 2011, all right, they 60. No, people turned 60 in 2009 because 62. You're right. People turned 60 in 2009 did get a little bit of a decrease in their Social Security payments. Not to the extent that AARP and these fools are out there saying, oh my goodness, you're going to lose $300,000 a month. Ah, save us, Sniffy Joe, save us. Now, it's not going to be like that, but it will probably be a reduction of some sort for sure. But it's not going to be what everyone is worried about. And AARP is still fear mongering. And I know why they're doing that, because they know it's a way to get people to sign up with them. Because they say, look, if we can scare people enough about Social Security benefits, even using yesterday's news, they'll sign up and pay our stupid fees, and we can freaking lobby Congress for liberal progressive crap. That's what the AARP does. All these people, man, all these guys. I mean, Republicans do it all the time. You see the stuff I get in the mail. It's like, dude, I get on my email like, oh my goodness, we're way behind. It's stupid, man. But I guess people fall for it. It actually bothers me quite a bit, because I was just watching, people, and I did a video of this earlier today where I was looking up the people on Peaks Island in Maine, where I'm from, and all the money they gave to Bernie and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, Maine already went. I mean, I'm sitting there like, the Republicans too. I get it. But it's just like, we're giving all ththese politicians tons of money so we can get just all kinds of crap in the mail from David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler and friggin', Beto Jr., John Ossoff, and whoever the friggin' clown's name is, Warnock. I was like, think of my kids just can't read because they got dyslexia, and yet, we're going to send Beto Jr. and stuff money. It's just the whole thing's nuts. I do think there needs to be public financing of political campaigns. I'm 180-degree different where I thought, how much waste is on there? All these people sending money to these clowns because they're living vicariously through politicians. I just don't. That's not good, and I don't want to be like that. And I'm sure I am in some regard too, but. It's like, man, I'm just sitting there thinking, all these freaking people out there who need a hand up, and instead we're going to give money to Bernie Sanders so we can have 3 houses. It's crazy. Look, the same thing Republicans too. It's not good. Anyway, so I was going to show you the other thing here. So let me find. Well, I guess I'm not sharing. Well, yeah, I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry, guys. Let me go and find this other thing on Social Security so I can find the average wage index. I can share that with y'all. We're going to go to indexing factors for earnings right there. All right. So again, let me share my screen, and we will share screen right there. All right. So what you do is, this is the website for that. You just go down and you say, what is your first year of eligibility? And your first year of eligibility is when you turn 62. All right. So you turn 62. And so for retirement eligibility is at age 62. So if a person reaches 62 in 2021, his first year of eligibility is 2021. That's when he turns 62. So you hit submit request. And I don't think they got 2020 yet. They're just in. Well, that's right. I forgot. So in 20, because they're using the last 2 years cool. Anyway, this is how you get it. So this is how you do it right here. I'll put a link in the comment section here. And they're at, once you hit 60, that's what it was. Once you hit 60, they only use one. They don't use AWI. So you want to use when you turn 60 for your last average wage index. And so if we go back here, let's click on this again, and we're going to say, when I turn 60 is 2020. We'll just say 2020 when I turn 60. We click on this, but we don't have the 2020 numbers out yet. So we're waiting on the 2020. Anyway, I'll put that in this here right there. I've done videos on that. So if I'm not explaining it well, which I don't think I am right now, we'll do that again shortly in a different video. All right, cool. Yeah, right. Bernie earns those bribes fair and square. Sure does. All right, so we got, let's see. Ronald says, I plan to retire at 67. I'm going to be 62 next year. Recently, I watched an interview with Peter Schiff, in which he said, because of the pandemic, no one will be able to retire because Social Security is broke. Should I worry about this? And I just simply say, Dan Rostenkowski. Dan Rostenkowski. Just look up Dan Rostenkowski, a very liberal congressman from Chicago, and look him up on YouTube, and you can see why you shouldn't worry about it. It's just, I mean, everything is broke, man. Everything is broke. But Social Security of the big three is fine. Medicare is dead right now. Medicaid is dead a few years ago. And yet people are still going. It's weird how many people aren't talking about Medicare. They're actually talking about expanding it. And yet Medicare is freaking dead to rights as we sit here today. And it was dead back. You might not remember, but when the Republicans took over Congress in 94, some clown from Georgia, as a matter of fact, had recorded Newt Gingrich and I think it was John Boehner on a conference call. And it's just, these people are scumbags, man. If the Republicans would have done it to the Democrats, people would have been up in arms, but because the Democrats do it. And Newt Gingrich said Medicare is dying on the vine. And basically which it is, it has been since it's been forever, basically since LBJ signed into law. Anyway, long story short, what the Democrats use, like, look, if Newt Gingrich wants to take grandma off Medicare, they've just been playing the same thing over and over and over again. But the facts are the facts. Medicare is dying on the vine. There isn't any money. Medicaid there is no money for Medicaid. And don't forget, states have to provide a lot of funding for Medicaid, which is why I said in last week's live stream, I said, nursing homes, New York, nursing homes, New York, nursing homes, New York. Could there be any reason why old Cuomo, the elderly killer, grandma killer, was putting elderly people in nursing homes? Actually, it's pretty funny because they want to take because 20,000 people have died under Joe Biden because of COVID. So why isn't Joe Biden rescuing these people? So now they want a new scalp, and they're going after Cuomo, which I think is pretty funny. Did you hear about the Attorney General in New York saying Cuomo killed thousands more people? So obviously Cuomo is going to be their fall guy, and they also know he's potential for 2024 as well. So that kind of cracks me up watching the infighting amongst the Democrats. Nursing homes, New York. Nursing homes, New York. Cuomo, the friggin' grandma killer. And Sniffy Joe, though, 20,000 people. More people died under Sniffy Joe than have died by 6 September 11th. More. Let me type that in. So more people have died under Sniffy Joe than 6 9/11s. What's up with that, Sniffy? Huh? So what are we going to do about that? How come my thing just dropped? Okay. Hold on a second. So see, this is fun. I can't wait to be the resistance, the resistance, because this is fun. You get to say whatever you want, man. More people died under Sniffy Joe than 9/11. So what are you going to do there, Sniffy? So Sniffy Joe literally wants people to die. He's literally, for political gain, he wants people to die. It's fun, man. No, that's not true. My man Pulverizer says they were going to die anyway. Can't say that, man. Can't say that. You got to say more people died under Sniffy Joe than Korean War. I'm not sure how many people died in the Korean War, frankly. But anyway, so this, yes, right. More people died under Sniffy Joe in 1 week also. Exactly. It's going to be fun doing this, the new resistance. And I tell you, the fun thing about this time is we've seen what the left does, and we're not scared. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, when Barack was in there, everyone was scared because we had the black president. Everyone's like, I don't want to be called racist. Now we got a crusty old white guy in there. All gloves are off, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to be on the resistance. I know the country is at stake, but at the end of the day, let's go down laughing. It's going to be fun. So I'm excited. Actually, it's funny too, and it's funny too. Now we're starting to admit that right? He discovered a way to time the market. We're starting to admit too that the virus did not come from a bat cave. It came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Is that weird that we're starting to admit all this stuff now? Just magically. Did you hear about the guy, the freaking clown? What's that guy's name? The lawyer who made the crap up. He literally changed a warrant, not a warrant, a FISA request. He changed it, and he's not going to jail at all. If that were you and I, we'd be going to jail for 20 years. If we were going to the rally for Trumpster, the Stop the Steal rally, and we just happened to be seen there, we'd be going for jail for 20 years. But yeah, if we change a FISA request, we literally change it, we're not going to jail. One law for them and another for us. Crazy. All right, let's keep going. So we just got to laugh, man, because there's nothing else to do. Laugh and punch back, man. You got to punch back. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. For 4 years, we had to defend nonsense with idiots out there. Now I hear AOC, she doesn't want to partner with Ted Cruz against the hedge funds, which, like, AOC's a freaking idiot. But I'm sitting there, she goes, you almost had me kill Ted Cruz. I'm like, isn't it weird? Because Bernie Sanders' people shot up the congressional baseball team and almost killed Steve Scalise. And Bernie Sanders literally said, they are literally trying to kill you over your health care. And the crazy guy, John Hodgkinson, some crazy angry white guy from Ohio, went down to D.C., scoped these guys out, and said, this is for my health care, as he's firing away. Not one person held Bernie Sanders accountable. But yet AOC, they were trying to kill me, Ted Cruz. I mean, the whole thing's, it's just the biggest bunch of snowflakes. They don't know what's coming, man. It's fun. In terms of the pushback from the right, it's going to be fun. And I'm looking forward to it because, it's obviously whatever thought would happen in November, it doesn't matter, right? The swamp won. But again, we'll go down fighting and laughing and have a grand old time while it burns because these guys are bad, and you got to fight bad things with fun. You got to have fun with it. So anyway, it's gonna be a good time. All right. Ron says, should I take some profits from stocks to cash to pay taxes on Roth conversions? Should I take some profits from stocks? Oh, to cash funds to pay taxes. Take profits from stocks to pay taxes. Well, that means you're gonna have more taxes to pay by taking gains from. So he uses contra. He's got a contra fund. I'm assuming the contra fund's in a taxable account. So he's gonna do Roth conversions, and he's gonna sell contra fund at a gain to pay the taxes on the Roth conversions, which are going to bring taxes on selling their contract fund. I don't think you should do that at all. No, don't do that. I don't understand what the problem with just paying the taxes from the IRA is. If you're under 59 and a half, you got to be careful. But I was talking to a guy 2 days ago, and I said, just pay the taxes with your IRA money. Remember, the whole point about the Roth conversions is to pull the IRA down. That's what you're trying to do. So at the end of the day, if it takes an extra $10,000 out of the IRA that doesn't make it to the Roth, but instead it pays the tax man, that's fine. Got kids screaming out there. Kids and dogs and kids and dogs. The whole point about the Roth conversion, though, is to reduce your IRA. So, yeah, I think people get way too caught up. What's the most efficient place to take my tax? I don't really get caught up in the efficiency of it all, because at the end of the day, it's we don't know what the future is. So just what are we trying to accomplish? We got 0 in a Roth. We got $1 million in a traditional IRA. All right. So what we're trying to do is, the ultimate thing isn't to get the Roth funded. The ultimate thing is to get this down so it doesn't kill us with IRMA, with a widow's tax trap, with Social Security taxes and all that. The ultimate thing is not funding the Roth. That's a wonderful thing to do, but the ultimate thing is to get the IRA down. Remember, that's the first priority. Let's see here. We got Richard. All right, says too quick. He's watched 99% of my videos over the past 18 months. I don't believe you, Richard. I think you're lying. Because I do so many damn videos. If you watch 99% of them, that's weird. I'm not going to lie to you. Take a break, brother. Take a break. You noted it many times on Wellington Wellesley as good investments. Okay. You have also noted don't put bonds in your Roth. Yeah. I plan on moving $500K from my IRA to Roth over the next 8 years. So basically from 62 to 70, old Richard here is going to move 500,000 from his IRA to his Roth before Social Security kicks in. That's a good move. These will be low income years and be waiting until we're 70 to take Social Security. Should I invest in these funds even though they're a significant bond component? All right. So the reason I like the Wellesley and I like the Wellington is because they've proven themselves wonderful in down years. I don't have any Wellesley and Wellington, and I don't anticipate having any at any time. And the reason for that, frankly, is because I don't like bonds. I'll have 4 years of cash in Ginnie Mae and the rest in VTI. That's it. I mean, nothing else. Some people don't want to be that aggressive. Most people, frankly. And as I sit here today as a 50-year-old man still working, I can easily see me changing, man. I mean, as I sit here today, it's nice to be able to talk like this, but wait till I'm 62, will I still do that? I don't know. And if I don't do that, then Wellesley's a little bit too conservative for me. I'd be tough to see me going Wellesley, but Wellington's fine. And I got no problem with that whatsoever. So for me, it's easy for me to say, VTI and 4 years of cash. It's easy. Harder in practicality, harder in practice. But I would not do, I would have no qualm with that. Second, don't overlook the fact that Japan, I keep going back to this, man. Japan, if we go into it, and going back to what my man Simon over at the Uneducated Economist says, and who I've said and other people, if we go into a Japan light, low growth, low inflation, bonds are fine. I mean, that's the thing. 1% bonds don't sound good historically, but 1% bonds, when you got negative interest rates and NERP, a negative interest rate policy, 1% interest rates are pretty good. And if we have deflation, the cost of goods goes down, relatively speaking, bonds are fantastic. Bonds and cash are great. Anything that's fixed income in deflationary times is profitable. Anything. All right. That way you bond. So don't get too wrapped up in the theory, but lastly, it's contingent on your ability to sleep well at night as well. So just always remember that too. Seems like I got something else I want to say about Japan. I forgot what that was. We talked about deflation. Oh, let me just talk a little bit about deflation as well. Everyone and inflation. Everyone's like, well, inflation is here. Just look at the cost of housing. All right, yes, I mean, they've inflated assets. That was what they were trying to do. The wealth effect is real, and inflated stocks, bonds, and housing. But can I make an argument that if you're in your home, the inflation of your house doesn't have any effect for you if you're already in your house? Does that make sense? Like, inflating the price of gasoline, inflating, the price of milk, that's a big deal. Those are things you consume and are perishable items. The inflation of a housing thing, unless you're renting or whatever, or you're going to move or something like that in of itself is kind of a wash. I don't get the big deal. Like housing should be part of the overall CPI. I don't think so. I mean, because most people are in their homes. Most people have contracts, long-term contracts for either a mortgage, they own their home outright. The rent's not going to change every month, and so as such, I don't think that's such a big deal. I don't get the whole thing like, oh, inflation. Have you seen the price of housing? I was like, yeah, I wouldn't consider that as part, and I don't think they do. Well, maybe energy. They do housing was it housing and energy? I can't remember, but I'm not sure. Anyway, long story short, just because there is inflated asset value in homes doesn't mean inflation per se is huge. It just does not, especially when we have oil quite low. Oil would be going up because Sniffy Joe and his anti-fracking policies. Just for something else here too. I was listening to Brett Weinstein and his wife Heather Heying talk about how they're happy they're getting rid of the pipeline. This boggles my mind, man. The Dakota Access Pipeline, DAPL. You know what happens, don't you? That oil is still being transported. It's just being transported by train as opposed to pipeline. So it's a hell of a lot more expensive to move it from Canada down to Gulf Shore, the Gulf of Mexico, and it's much more dangerous. It's just, how could you be against Dakota Access Pipeline and say you're representative of the middle class? How could you be against Dakota Access Pipeline and say you care about the environment? It doesn't make any sense. It's still there's still going to be a movement of oil across over the road now, except by train, as it always has been, other than pipeline. It's stupid. It's just, these guys, they get away with stuff, and I hate it, man. And I'm not talking about Brett and Heather, but I actually posted, I'm sure they didn't. Now they get tons of comments. I posted on their YouTube channel. I said, I don't get it. I don't understand why you're against this. I mean, it's weird to me. Do you think that the oil is just not going to matriculate into Texas and refineries? It's the weirdest thing to me, but I guess it doesn't matter. All right. All right. Let's keep going here. All right. Mark Williams, in your videos regarding a lump sum payout versus a monthly annuity payout from a pension, you say I'm looking for at least a 6% payout rate. Is that 6% monthly pension payout for a single life, or does it also apply to 100% joint and spousal life? I'll be 62, retiring at 64. My bride is 5 years younger. My payout for 100% joint and spousal is only 4.99%. All right. So he'll be 60. So he's going to be 64, and his better half is going to be basically 60. And they'll get 100% joint, 100% survivor benefit. And it's 4.99%. Yeah, I'd have a challenge taking that, frankly. That's a tough one there. There'd have to be. I would default and say no. Obviously, not knowing the whole circumstance, I'd need to see more. That would be one of those ones you'd have to convince me to do the annuity, the pension, as opposed to the lump sum. That's. I mean, you're already mid-60s, dude, and you're only getting 5%. We'll just say 5. He didn't say if it has a COLA. If it has a COLA, that changes it. If it doesn't have a COLA, I wouldn't do that. That's just, that's not good enough. Now, going back to deflation, Japan, remember, even a fixed payment annuity, anything that's fixed income is valuable in a deflationary economy. But I'm not convinced enough that we're going into a deflationary economy that I would put the bulk of my assets into a pension that's only paying me 5%, especially without a cost of living adjustment. That I'm not a fan of that. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. All right. Yeah, Judith says she's almost 62 and she's single. Fellas, she's single. She's planning on retiring at 64, but not taking Social Security until she's 67, her full retirement age. I'm wondering which account to use to fund the 3-year income gap. I get this question a lot, so I'm gonna have to do a video solely on this. I'm getting this question a lot lately. Let's see. She goes, I have taxable investments, a standard savings account, a small Roth, and a traditional 401k, and an inherited IRA. I'm currently in the 12% tax bracket with room to take some withdrawals in this bracket. Was also wondering if I should do partial Roth conversions while I'm still working. Just recently found you, been watching YouTube videos. Love for okay, good. Good stuff, Judith. I'm itching for some reason. Finney came in with a dead mouse, and I tried to chase him, and he ran outside, and I couldn't catch him. I'm not sure what actually happened. What ended up happening with that mouse? I don't know if it went into his digestive system or if he spit it out, but that big old puppy's like, roof. I said, Finney, drop it. He's like, I'm out of here. And then he kind of went over to the side of one of the trees I planted. He's like looking at me going like this, dead mouse hanging out his mouth. I said, Finney. I said, let me get you some food. He's like, dude, I already got food. I said, give me some licks, buddy. Give me some licks. So maybe he licked me and he's got mouse. Oh, the coronavirus didn't come from the Wuhan, a rat place, a wet mark in China. Maybe Finney licked somebody after he had a dead mouse in his mouth. All right. So single, I'm not a big fan of doing Roth conversions. If you're single, I don't like the idea of pulling income forward and to pay tax on it today. It is a pretty dicey market. No, I don't mean just stock market, but economy right now. I just look. I'm kind of negative on the overall state of the economy, and it's not because of Sniffy Joe. I mean, he's somewhat to do that, but I was with Trump too. I said I don't think 2021 is going to be good, regardless of who wins. I cannot get over the fact that freaking 30 million jobs were lost. Thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses are closed. Employees don't have any work. Businesses lost all their investment into their business. And magically, just like this, Sniffy Joe is going to turn on the switch and we're all going to be good. It's crazy, man. Consumer spending is 70% of GDP. You can't it doesn't just wake up one day and say, spend, people. And you can't stimulate with some freaking UBI. Because if you could, then you just look everywhere. If you could just stimulate spending with government spending, which would make the economy grow, how come it hasn't ever worked? It can't. It won't. It's stupid. So what happens here is we have a government that's growing by leaps and bounds, regulation that's growing by leaps and bounds, and you have many, many people who don't have a job to go to, and many, many businesses has lost all their investments. And you're not just going to wake up one day and say we're all back to normal. And frankly, this is my whole thing with Trump. He fell for the trap. He fell for it. So frustrating. And a lot of right wingers fell for it. I'm telling you, man. At the very beginning, I could not. They fell for it, and I don't know why. I said, do you really think the CDC Republicans, the FDA, Fauci, all these clowns have your best? No, they don't have your best interests at heart, dude. Oh. And Trump fell for it. He fell for it. He went after Brian Kemp here in Georgia. I said, what? Jesus. It's to this day is one of my most frustrating things is that Trump fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And I can't believe he couldn't see it. Now you see what the Democrats are proposing now? Massive mail-in voting. All right. So anyway, she should not do Roth conversions. Anyone want to guess where old Judith should pull her money from? So she's 62. She's not going to take her Social Security till 67. Where should she pull her money from while she's waiting to take Social Security? Her Roth, her IRA, or a taxable account. So put 1 for Roth, 2 for IRA, or 3 for taxable accounts. All right. So where should she pull her money while she's waiting to take Social Security? 1 for Roth, 2 for IRA, 3 for taxable accounts. Yep. Fox is way too far left, man. All right. So let's see what we got. I tell you, one thing is if you're one thing that I don't watch any I haven't watched Fox News in a long time. Hannity never did anything for me. I'll catch some Tucker stuff on YouTube. That's it. I don't watch that crap. My wife has a stupid, NBC or ABC News on for background noise. when she comes home from work, and she doesn't really follow, but I have to get up and leave because it just infuriates me. And actually, I stopped reading Breitbart too. So a couple of things I started. And I listened to Tom Sowell. Actually, if you watch the Tom Sowell video, it's out now, and he said he went. I think to Wyoming with a couple of his partners, and they went to Wyoming to do photography. He said it's the best thing. He got rid of the news. He didn't watch the news, and he just said. It was great. He goes, I tell you, man, just stop. I tell you, I'll still watch, I'll still read some of my favorite websites like Powerline Blog and Instapundit, and of course my man Turtle Boy. But other than that, I don't really read that much news media all that much anymore. I don't read Breitbart, because I know some of these newspaper websites are they piss me off, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want it. I don't want all that stuff in my life. So I'm like, I'm not going to read that stuff anymore. So anyway, I stopped reading some of these websites I normally would frequent just because it's like I don't want to get mad. It's like, why? It just doesn't. I remember I was reading a Breitbart article the other day, and I like Breitbart. I like some of the writers on there. I love James Delingpole, and actually a guy I knew who writes in the sports, Dylan Gwynn, and I know him. One of these days I can interview him, but I just remember reading this. I don't want to read it anymore. It was getting on my nerves. Not like their writing was bad or anything, but just it was making me mad. And I was like, I don't want to. I'm over that. So anyway, it's not like I'm being ignorant. I still read Instapundit. I still read Powerline. I still read Don Serber. I love Don Serber, a media guy from West Virginia. But I don't really. I'm trying to think. Who else do I? My other ones: Powerline, Instapundit, American Thinker. I do read that. The Federalist, Zero Hedge, Don Serber, and The Last Refuge, The Conservative Treehouse. I'll read that, and that's pretty much it. Every now and again, I'll read Rob Dreyer's American Conservative. They're like, I don't know what American Conservative. They're not really conservative. They're never Trumpers, but they're thoughtful never Trumpers to some regard. But I'll read that on occasion. Some of that's pretty good, actually. But all right. Carol says, how do I determine if I can retire at 62 instead of 65? Wow. How do I retire if I can retire at 62 instead of 65? The first thing we got to know is you're expensive, man. The Epic Times. Yeah, I read the Epic Times. Absolutely. I'm not that big a fan of Dan Bongino. I listen to his podcast on occasion, but I like him. I like him. I don't know. This podcast, it just doesn't do much for me. I don't know why. Yeah, Epic Times, NTD. I'll read them too, Jill. Yep, they got video. In fact, NTD, the lady from NTD, her. Who is that? There's I forgot her name. She has another YouTube channel from NTD. I was just watching some earlier today. China in Focus. It's hold on just a second. Found out my man JP Sears is a big BLM supporter. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, Tiffany Meyer. Deep dive with Tiffany Meyer. So she did a video right there. So big fan of hers. I couldn't believe JP Sears, big supporter of Black Lives Matter. I was like, what the hell? I was like, whoa. Jeez Louise. Yeah. No argument for me, Pulverizer. Yeah. Fox is so 90s. Oh, Babylon B, they got good. Dinesh is on Rumble. He's got the biggest Rumble channel there is, man. Dinesh D'Souza. Yep, I'm a big fan. I'm on Rumble too, by the way. Let's see. Babylon B, they got a good podcast as well on YouTube and just regular podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I mean, that's look at this. This is Mises Media. Right there, Human Action Podcast, Rothbard's America's Great Depression, Murray Rothbard, and there's Ludwig von Mises. You got to, oh, man. Oh, I love it. Yeah, there's Babylon B right there. Bad one B. You can reopen now. If you if you're not too if you don't have a stick too far up your butt, watch the comedian Ryan Long. Oh my goodness, Ryan Long, you gotta. Oh man, that guy is funny. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see what else we got here. Sergio says, all right, let's see. I'm an Air Force civilian from California, nearing 52 years, planning to retire at 60. I got TSP. I'm saving close to $25K a year. Assumes a 6% return. All right. My wife and I will wait to 70 for Social Security. Then we'll live off TSP withdrawals and FERS pension. Till then, we'll live off TSP withdrawals and FERS pension. Right on. During the first period of 10 years, we plan to drain the TSP via Roth Conversions. Post 70, we plan on living on incomes from, okay, that makes sense. My main weakness is investment allocation. What do I mean by a taxable account? Okay. Whew. All right. So if you're going to appreciate the question, maybe put the, well, no, maybe it'd be very helpful if people just put the question on the front, the first line would be helpful. So I read all that and had literally nothing to do with the question. So, which is fine. But I'm trying to not sound like an ass, but a lot of these emails I'm going to delete because they come in, and if I don't see the question around the front, I just simply won't read the whole thing. So just FYI. A taxable account is a good old fashioned brokerage account. You got a I don't know, friggin' $10,000 in Fidelity Contra Fund, like my man before was saying. You got $10,000 in a CD and $10,000 in a savings. Those are all taxable accounts. So that's what I mean by it. Now, again, going back to my man from Contra Fund. Oh, by the way, you had asked what the number was. It was 2. You want to take the money out from your IRA, everybody. 2 is the right answer. 2. All right, so 2 is the right answer. That's what we're looking for. So, Jim, you need some remedial training, brother. RJ, well, at least you guys had taxable accounts. Jeff, you definitely need some remedial training. You got to go back and watch the older videos, man. I'm just goofing on you. Jim and RJ, we'll give you a break here, but we definitely don't want to be pulling from our Roth. That's for sure. Let's see. Who else? Oh, dude, I've been following Instapunter forever. I mean, it's hell. Glenn Reynolds is friggin'. That guy has changed my life, man. He's kind of like Trumpster. He's a germaphobe. I can see that a mile away. It's funny. All these libertarians, I don't trust the government, except when it comes to vaccines. And Glenn Reynolds is a guy just like that. I don't trust the government, but I can't wait to take the vaccine. It's the weirdest flipping thing, man. I sit there and I say, libertarians don't trust the government as far as they can kick them, but man, they are willing to take some stuff and to get a shot in them on the drop of a note. I tell you, man, I could literally take one of Finney's dookies and label it vaccine and spray some of Chloe's perfume on it, and people would be willing to eat it because it says vaccine. It's the strangest thing. I have this infatuation with this word vaccine. If it says vax on it, people are like, it's healthy, it's okay, it's been tested. It is really odd to me how people like Glenn Reynolds, who aren't freaking stupid, you just say it's a vaccine. Okay, it's good. I'm like, it's the weirdest thing. I'm sitting there thinking, I don't trust the government, but I trust them here. I don't get it, man. Jeez Louise. Brian Tyler Cohen, not familiar with him. All right. The Dems want immigrants to vote Democratic, and the Republican Chamber of Commerce wants to slave labor. That's just fact, man. It's literally just a fact. The Wall Street Journal editorial page, they wants the cheap labor, and the Dems, New York Times editorial page wants the votes. That's simple. All right. CBC oil to calm me down. It works. All right. Well, that's cool. I don't know what CBC is. That the what's that stuff called? CBD, that stuff. I don't know what CBC is. Is that a Canadian broadcasting company? I bought off Gavin McGinnis. Everyone thinks, oh my goodness. And I'm a big fan of Gavin's, by the way. And one of his main sponsors is Johnny Appleseed. They do CBD stuff. I bought some. It didn't do much for me. I don't know. Maybe because I already take Lexapro. And I'm not ashamed at all to tell people I take Lexapro one a day. Love it. Lexapro, was prescribed Zoloft. Man, that stuff I did not like. So now look, man, I come from there's lots of addicts in my family. So I'm very, very nervous about taking any kind of drugs, any kind. And I don't like it. So I remember I took Zoloft, this is probably 10 years ago when we lived in New Jersey. And I think I just one pill. I can't remember, but when the scariest night, I had a panic attack. It was the weirdest thing. I was like laying, that scared the living hell out of me. Anyway, I came down here. My man Brett said, I was just telling, I said, because, I don't drink, thankfully, but I can have a temper. And I was just telling, I said, sometimes just get pissed. And I said, I don't like it. He goes, you should take Lexapro. It does just enough. It just takes it just enough, like 5% off. I said, I don't want to get hooked. I don't want to be one of these zombies running around out there. Like, I need my drugs. He goes, no. And so I said, all right. And I told him about my Zoloft thing. And he said, nah, man, it might, but just go see a doc. So my doc prescribed Lexapro, and I love it, dude. I take one a day, and I'm still fired up. But I get fired up, not to the point where I lose my temper, if that makes sense. And I'm not very, I'm not an angry guy, and I don't really get, I don't like confrontation. I don't like yelling. But sometimes you get pissed. I don't know what it is, of the temper from my dad and his dad. I don't know. But and I don't like being pissed, and then I don't like it. And then sometimes you're always like, dude, why did you let them get under your skin? Anyway, so Lexapro, I've been taking it for over 8 years now. I freaking love it, dude. It's the best thing ever. And it's over the counter. I think no, not over the counter. It's got to be prescription. But I take one pill a day. Good to go. It's I thought I'd lose my motivation, not in the least. So if you're getting fired up and you're like, man, maybe look at taking Lexapro. Zoloft didn't do it for me. I'll tell you that right now. No way, no how. And I am scared to death of dope, of any kind of dope, prescribed or anything. It just scares the hell out of me. And don't let me get started on my neighbor up here. Sad. Just sad. Anyway, so and I've lost some friends from heroin overdose, and we've had lots of dope issues in my family. Just it's and obviously Irish, lots of drinking in the family and stuff, and lots of Irish from many generations of Scanlons, and that has has found its way to me too. So being sober, first and foremost, being healthy is a big deal. And I could probably stand to lose a couple of LBSs, but being healthy is a big deal. But also, there are narcotics. I guess they are, right? The drugs. I don't know, but I don't know. I think if it's out there and it works, why not use it? If it's CBD or whatever, I don't care. I mean, if anything, it just get you right. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're in the wrong place, that's not good. Now, I don't want you getting right where you lose your personality, yourself, who you are, but getting right so you can tackle the day without drinking, without smoking dope, without, freaking beating on your husband or wife and kicking the dog and all that. I think that's important. And, it's reality, man. I will say at the end of the day, I do despise people who look at zombies and say they just need to be, they're dregs of society. There's lots of studies done that many people they can take opioids and not get hooked. About 10, I think I was reading like 10 to 15% of the population can't. And the sad thing is you don't know if you're going to be in that 10 to 15% of the population. You don't. And the sad thing is once you get hooked, it's insane to not get hooked. You know what I'm saying? And, I just wish we had some more sympathy for people and their families who are fighting that, because that's some evil stuff there, and it's not done deliberately. No one wakes up and says, I want to get hooked. Everyone says, I want to get clean, but there's something chemically in their brain that they can't. And if you ever had to fight addiction, you know how hard it can be. It's freaking hard, man. And especially when it's a chemical addiction or something like that. I just wish people would be a little bit more sympathetic or empath. I guess compassionate. I guess is the word I'm looking for. With that said, though, you can't open yourself up to abuse by an addict, if that makes sense. And we're kind of dealing with that right now. And I just you can't, because an addict is a zombie. A zombie will do anything for brains. An addict will do anything for a fix. Anything, because they're zombies. It's literally, you look at them like a zombie. And just as you wouldn't invite a zombie into your house, knowing full well that you have children there because they're going to eat your kids' brains, you're not going to invite an addict into your house to sleep at night or something like that to escape the cold, because they're zombies, but they're zombies for a fix. And it's sad. And, you want to do what you can to help, but you can't sacrifice your own family for that. You just can't. And it's tough, man. And I got 4 kids. I always worry what happens if one of my kids goes down that path. And I talk to people all the time who've got children who've gone down that path. And I got nothing but sadness in my heart. And because what if that were me? What if one of your kids became a zombie and you want to help, but you can't because they're zombies? What do you do? Freaking sad, dude. And that's no joke. And people like, just let them all die. And no, just freaking, it's kind of like, they say a conservative is a liberal who's been mugged. Well, you know what a libertarian is, right? A libertarian is a conservative who's been falsely accused. And that's me right here. So until you walk in the shoes of something like that, maybe show some compassion there, please. And I also hate when they say, it's just all white trash, white people are killing themselves on opioids and stuff, as if that's okay. I hate that crap. That actually pisses me off. It's wait a second. So if certain groups of people are hurting for whatever reason, we can blame society, we can blame Trump, we can blame freaking Thomas Jefferson. But if other groups of society are hurting for whatever reason, it's okay because they're somehow privileged. Screw all that crap, man. And that's another thing that's going to be good with Sniffy Joe in there. All this crap on the woke stuff is going to face a fierce pushback. It's going to be great because people I'm telling you right now, people are like, I don't care. Yeah, they're going to fight. They own everything, right? But they're not the cool kids anymore. The cool, the establishment is the left, the woke left. And wow. The AOCs are the establishments, man. The Bernie Sanders are the man. The punks are us, man. The right wingers is awesome. And you think we're going to sit back and say, you can disparage freaking 45 to 50% of the U.S. population as freaking white supremacists? Yeah, screw all that. No, I'm going to take it. It's great. And that doesn't mean we go out and start punching people. We just laugh at them. And we say it more. We say, okay, I'm a white supremacist. Okay, whatever. It's stupid. And because it won't work. And that's the thing about Republicans. Stop trying to appease your freaking enemies, man. They don't want you appeased. They don't want to make friends with you. They don't. They want you friggin' metaphorically 6 feet under, and not really. You know what I'm saying? They don't. So stop, man. Jeez Louise and blue cheese. You can't appease these people. You really think you can appease somebody who thinks there's, I hate to say anything more on the genders because I'll get banned, but come on. Science is science, man. All right, so let's keep going. We're going to cut more here, and then we'll call it a night. All right, so what we got here? This is Sam. Sam says, just discovered your channel. I'm 60. I want to retire from my consultant job. Per one video, I have a quick question regarding asset allocation in an IRA when the accumulation phase of the portfolio is over. That is, should I move money out of Vanguard funds, the total stock index, the total bond index, the international index, and the money market funds, and reallocate them to Wellesley? How can I answer that question, man? I don't know. I mean, should you? Look, any financial advisor will never answer that question because we don't know your circumstance. There's something called KYC, know your customer. There's no way for me to answer that question. No way. So I simply can't. I can't. I mean, you're asking me what you specifically should do. I don't know you other than the fact you have these funds that you chose on your own. For me to say you should or should not do that, it would be giving you advice, which I absolutely can't do. No way. So I'm sorry, but I can't. All right. So we'll take another one. Here's who is this here? This is doesn't give me the name. All right. I've been watching a lot of your YouTube videos. I'm paying for a financial advisor to watch my 403B in Roth. My question is, do I continue to pay an advisor while I'm in retirement? I pay $1,000. Oh, Jackie. Okay, this is Jackie. I pay $1,000 a year. Thanks, Jackie. I don't know how much you have in there, so I'm presuming you have about $100,000 in there. If it's a 403B, Jackie's probably a teacher, and so she probably doesn't have a huge amount of money in that 403B, I imagine. And the reason is because teachers don't look. Teachers are not underpaid. I'm sorry, they're not overpaid either. Let's just be clear there. So teachers make a decent salary, but it's not huge. So teachers usually don't have huge amounts of money in their 403Bs. I mean, there's an exception to every rule, but most teachers I've come across, at most $250,000. So if she's paying $1,000 a year, she's probably paying 1% fee. I don't think it's worth it, frankly. But I don't know. Is Jackie? Some people get real nervous when it comes to managing money, their own money, and sometimes the nerve is better to pay somebody $1,000 to do that for you. Let me give you an example. Like, I could figure out how to do an electric outlet. You know what I'm saying? I could. You could do that. I don't want to say it's not that hard, but I mean, you could figure it out. I don't want to figure that out. I don't want to mess with it. I want to pay somebody whatever, $200, $300, whatever it costs to do it. Just be done with it. Because I don't want to do. I don't know how to do it very well, and as such, it's the time and the energy it takes for me to do that. It's not something I want to do, and as such, I would say to Jackie, look, you can figure it out on your own, but if you don't want to and you feel you're getting value for $1,000 a year, then stay with the guy. I can no call him that. Remember, no financial advisor is ever going to get you out of the market before a down market. All right. They're never going to do that, man. All right. So a financial advisor, they just can't. So if you're paying this guy, all right. So Lydia, so just real quick, Lydia, I'll answer your question there. If you're paying a guy $1,000 under the assumption that he's going to save you from a down market, that's money not well spent, because he can't. He can't. If you're paying $1,000 because it makes you feel comfortable that someone's managing your stuff, I'm okay with that. All right. So Lydia says she thinks school teachers are underpaid. It's interesting because in California, I've come across many a school teacher with big fat pensions, huge pensions, upwards of $100,000 a year. The whole school system is jacked, man. We're rewarding longevity as opposed to competence. And so what happens is a lot of the young teachers coming up, I don't know what their starting pay is. In California, some teachers, I don't know, maybe they're starting at $60,000. You get full benefits for life, huge pensions for life, cost of living adjustment pensions for life. Lots of time off. Now, if a teacher doesn't retire, maybe works 3 years and says, look, I'm getting smoked by the stupid administration, that sucks. But if you are a teacher in California, you're retiring, trust me, you're in a freaking pretty damn good place. You really are. And that's the issue with seniority, with unions, frankly, is that if you are senior, you get, the cushy stuff. If you're up and coming and you want to do good work, you're going to have to fight and claw, and you might say, I'll give an example of a mailman. Let's just say there's a mailman we know in our family. There's a tall guy who was carrying the mail, and he was taking too many steps per hour, making the other mail carriers look bad, if that makes sense. And they said, you got to slow down, because he was delivering his mail too fast. There's your union for you, man. And it's kind of fun. So teachers get, from a pure salary perspective, they're doing okay. From a pure benefit perspective, they're doing fantastic. I'm sorry. Now, do I want to be a teacher? No. Is it easy work? Hell no. Hell no. Not going to say it's easy. I said they get paid pretty well. That's when you factor in all the benefits they get. Yes, they do. That's what they do. Now, teachers in Texas, teachers in Georgia, teachers in California, New Jersey, Massachusetts, yes, they do. That is a fact. Teachers in Texas probably are the worst, some of the worst paid with the worst benefits out there. That's a fact. Georgia, not great either, but other schools, districts, and other states, they're doing pretty well. All right, so I met some Lydia. I'm not sure. Lydia says she met some white supremacist. They thought I was white, and when they found out I was Latina, they said I was a different kind of Latina, whatever that means. I don't know. We never met a white. Yeah, me either. It's funny, Dan. I met one white supremacist actually, and he was in jail in Miami. And we were going to a show, and he happened, and a friend of mine I got out of the Army with was in some pretty. He was running with the wrong crowd. It turned out with. Anyway, long story short, I went to he was living in Nashua, and I wanted to go see. I had gotten out of the Army, and I went to go see him up in Nashua. Good friends. And let's just put it this way: it turned out he was running with a crowd that was interesting at the best. And so one of the guys from his crowd was a guy from Miami who had just gotten out of prison, not jail, but prison in Miami, a white guy. And he had lots of tattoos on his head. This is before it's cool to even get tattoos. This is, back in the early 90s. So very few people had tattoos, never mind tattoos on your head, shaved head. And he was a true white supremacist. And I remember we went to a show in Boston, and oh my goodness, let's just say it was an interesting event. Let's just put it this way. And it was funny because I was like, I said, who's this guy? He's, oh man, some guy I met at some show. And let's just put it this way. There used to be some illicit activity amongst those guys in Boston that I was ignorant about when I went to see my man up in Nashua. And let's just put it this way. They want to re-engage in that illicit activity in Boston. I just thought we were going to a show, a hardcore show in someplace in Rathskeller or something like that in Boston. Turns out they want to do more. And I was like, dude, you all do what you got to do. I'm going to watch this band. And let's just put it this way. There was some rough and tumble things that happened. And I don't know how I got caught up in it, but I was like, man, I was the guy driving. And I said, dude, we got out of there, and it was a very interesting experience. Let's put it that way, and something I wasn't anticipating when I went to go see my Army friend in Nashua, New Hampshire, who later on turned out to OD from heroin. There you go. So it was like, that's the only white supremacist I've ever met, which is funny because I'm pretty right wing. And you think if I'm a white guy and I'm not ashamed of being a white guy, and you think if anything, I would know some white supremacists, but I don't. You know why? Because I don't give a crap. It's like, dude, there's no, if you're of Jesus, ain't no supremacy by this. This is just freaking fake. This is not a uniform. This is just skin. Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap? And as such, the idea that, oh, I'm white, I'm better than these other guys because this. I mean, how silly is that? It's just dumb. I'm black, I'm better than you because I'm black. That's stupid, man. No one thinks. I mean, I guess some people do. Those people are dumb. If you're of Jesus, you can't think like that, man. I mean, just to go the idea that like Jesus is obviously Jesus is olive skin anyway, so he's not white, he's not black, he's olive skin. It's just. Oh man, I actually think that there's something to be said about learning racism. I really do. This is one of these things. I don't think people are naturally racist at all. I do think it's a learned what skill set. I don't know what you call it, as opposed to something that's ingrained. I don't think it is at all. I think it's learned because I think most kids don't give two craps what color skin you are. I think most kids just want to hang out and play, you know what I'm saying, as little kids. And then something happens later on in life where it gets a call to attention. Oh, that kid's this, that kid's that. You're like, but I don't think I think it's a learned behavior. And I think it's getting worse because of the woke crowd. Let's identify everybody by their skin color. Crazy. And it's going to be fun shooting these guys down. Not shooting literally YouTube metaphorically. We're shooting them down their arguments. It's going to be fun shooting the woke crowd we got to identify everybody according to race. Yeah, that's stupid. No one wants to do that other than the woke people. And the woke people are fools. So it's going to be fun being on the outside looking in, the resistance to say, you guys are dumb. No one wants to think like that. All right. So let's see. Private school teachers are more better than the school. Did you see that? I don't know much about Bitcoin, Brenda. Sorry. I had not I just don't know that much. I need to learn this blockchain stuff. I need to. Frankly, it bores me. Not gonna lie to you, it just does. Maybe it's just my laziness, but look at my man Glenn. Yeah, but private school teachers, Chuck, do it because of literal labor of love. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But private school teachers do it because it's a labor of love, which is God bless to you all. Lydia says, I get annoyed when people have certain job titles they think are better than others. Yeah, well, me too. Right here, we are all equal under God. Why can't we? Why don't we just? The funny thing is, Lydia, Mexicans, it's funny because we lived in Arizona and we also live in Texas. The Texas Mexican Americans are different than the ones in Arizona, what I found. I've actually heard they're different than the ones in California, too. And like of all the Mexican music, they're different. Look, I love Mexican music. I love it. There's different branches of Mexican music, which some I can't stand. Some is just fantastic, man. But dude, it's interesting how, it's like India, the country of India, they're Indian. Well, my goodness, it's like they're Mexican. It's like saying they're American. Okay, well, that doesn't mean anything. It's crazy. Yeah, right on. One of my nieces is a school teacher in Georgia. A teacher in Illinois. Yeah. So sorry, Brenda. I just don't know. If you have some thoughts on that, I'd like to hear it. I haven't. Jill taught for a year. That's more than enough. Yeah, man. I took a teaching. Speaking when I was in Arizona, so I thought about being a teacher myself, and I did the teaching class at the University of Phoenix, and we had our teaching, student teacher day thing. And this is when I'll never forget this. This is when I knew I couldn't be a teacher. And this is in Phoenix, and in Phoenix, part of Phoenix is heavily Mexican American, certainly lots of illegals too. And I'll never forget sitting in the classroom, and actually I was a big brother to my man Alejandro Fontes, and I think this was the school he went to, which is his mom was illegal, and she did a Mexican food taco stand, taco truck. And it just, man, and she was actually freaking insanely gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Oh, good night. Was she hot? And she actually married an army guy. And I was glad because Alejandro is my little brother. It's Cecilia. She was just, but she couldn't speak English. But I mean, I just remember sitting there thinking, man, if I was, working in a construction field and I saw Celia, I forgot her name, pulling up with her Mexican taco truck, I'd be there all day long. I'd buy like 1,000 tacos a day. Anyway, but she was nice, and she had another little daughter too. Long story short, they regulated the hell out of Mexican taco trucks. They said you have to have a kitchen, you have to have all this, and it's like freaking what? Just God. It's like, look, man, what? No one has forcing any of these guys to eat her freaking tacos. You know what I'm saying? No one's doing that. No one's putting a gun to these guys' heads saying, go eat her tacos. So if you don't want to take the risk, don't eat the freaking taco. And then she had to spend $20,000. Here's an illegal lady, freaking with 2 kids. Her husband's back, her ex-husband is back in Mexico and not supporting her at all. And she's trying to get by. Actually, she fled. That's why she came to America, to flee from her crappy old husband, or her husband in Mexico, because he was not a good man. Anyway, so she's up here in Phoenix, and she's trying to get by, trying to sell tacos, and working her tail off. You know what I'm saying? And then the government, to help everybody, says you got to have a taco. I mean, she got to take it in, man. And she could not do her taco truck until she did $20,000 worth of renovations. you had to have this kitchen thing. And she's like, I remember she was like, I don't have $20,000. And again, she was speaking through Alex, but she ultimately she was able to raise it. I don't know how, but you know what? Freaking government, and kiss my big fat behind. That doesn't help anybody. Anyway, this is the problem. This is where like the Jewish population, the Chinese population, a lot of these ethnic populations. I'm not sure if the Mexicans did who came to America, but I know a lot of Jewish people, Chinese, Muslims, is they would gather together to raise funds for each other to help them with enterprises, if that makes sense. It's a very I've always been impressed by that. We'll say, look, we're going to take care of each other. So in this case, you want to open a taco truck and you need $20,000. We're going to go to our community of Jewish people, of Chinese people, of Muslims, and we're going to raise the funds for you to be able to do that. And in turn, you'll do the same for us. There's lots of that goes on under, what you don't see and just in the normal economy, but it's happened. And she ultimately was able to do that. I don't know how she was able to raise the money, but I don't know. But anyway, long story short, the government was not helping at all. The government was hurting. And it freaking pissed me off. Anyways, long story short. So I'm sitting there in my student teaching class down in South Phoenix. Was it South Phoenix? East Phoenix. So you got 7th Street East. Yeah, so it was. So you got Central. Wait, Central went this way? I can't remember. I think it was 7th Street goes north and south. And on the east side is the poor, heavily Mexican, Spanish speaking, and on the west side is the up, wealthier going towards Scottsdale. That's what it was. So I guess it was East Phoenix, if memory serves. I think it was South Phoenix too. I can't remember. Anyway, we're sitting in class. I'll never forget. There's this the teacher was giving the class, and there's this kid who was trying to, it was like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, something like that, trying to be like the class clown, and the teacher kept calling on him. And I'll never forget. There's this little girl behind him. And she had something to say, but she never called on because the kid in front of her was getting all the attention. And I'll never forget that. I said, that girl is not she's basically, I knew right then, the whole point of school is to just keep the kids up to obey. It's not to bring out their best. It's just not. And I don't blame the teachers for that. But what I'm saying is I was watching this. I saw this little girl. And she was sitting there, and I could tell she wanted to participate. She wanted to participate, but she's kind of shy. And the kid in front of her was kind of like a class clown. And, now that what I know about dyslexia, I bet he couldn't read. And that's his way of acting out. But anyway, and I said, that girl, 2 things are happening here. This kid isn't going to get the help. This is what I found later with dyslexia, having my own. That kid isn't going to get the help to learn how to read, and he's going to rebel. That little girl will never, she's not going to get, she's being held back essentially. And I'll never forget that. I sat there, I said, man, my heart just bled. I said, if someone could just see this little girl and how she wants to participate and she's being denied. It was, it's so frustrating. All right. Well, anyway, there you go. All right. Hey, thanks, Dr. Gui. Love my videos. Yeah, the unfunded liabilities, dude, are through the flipping roof. I mean, you got Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, the big 3, all unfunded. And then they got off the book stuff too. The whole thing. I mean, it's a whole freaking, it's not even a Ponzi scheme because there's no money backing this up. It's just all fake, man. It's all fake. So what do? Yeah, GME, baby. I'm leveraged to the hilt with GME. I told my wife I took a mortgage to buy some GME. I just did a video on this on GME. I don't get why people, it's the weirdest thing. I say, why would you buy it now? I mean, the bad hedge guy is gone. And some guy commented, goes, because there's still more shorts out there. So the whole point is to go against the shorts. It doesn't make sense to me. The short sellers serve a purpose, man. But I'm telling you right now, they're going to, right on. I got you, Jeremy. Jeremy. They're going to regulate shorts out of existence. They've been wanting to do this for a while. All the bad shorts do. What shorts do is they do serve a purpose, man. They throw a risk to take on badly run companies. And when you regulate that out of existence, it just, all it does is reward badly run companies. That's just a fact. And so what's going to happen is we're going to have these people, they're going to regulate shorts out of existence because they've been wanting to do that for a long time. I look a little bit tired. Oh, man. Well, thanks, Tim. Jeez. Appreciate that. So Tim says, I look a little bit tired. And then he says, good night all. So maybe he's tired. I'm just goofing on him. All right. Yeah. All right. We're going to get out of here, man. Appreciate y'all being here. And I got a hell of a lot more questions and answers to do the next time too. They just pile up, and it's just I need to just do these one by one like we're doing here. All right, mucho gracias. That means thanks a lot in Spanish, in case you all didn't know that. And kak da la, that means how are you, right? In Russian, look at me. I'll say I won't say a bad word in Spanish, which I know I won't say that. Kak da la, that's Russian. Grazie, Italian, right? All right. See you guys. Thanks for being here. Mucho.